Hi, my name is Chrome and I live in a 2004 Ford E250 extended cargo van with my little travel partner right there. He's a 5-month-old bulldog. His name is CRUZ. Let's go check out my house. I bought the van on August 16th, 2017 for $6,500 Canadian, and I didn't buy it intending to live in it. I bought it for my DJ business because I needed something to haul my gear in. And the second I bought the van, I threw a blanket and a pillow in the back and I took off for a few-day trip. And while I was sleeping in there, I'm like, this thing's got a whole lot of room. You could seriously live in a van, not knowing that van life was a thing. Went home and Googled living in a van and boom, there you know it. It's everywhere. So within 30 days, I'm not kidding you, I bought the van August 16th. I was living in my van full-time on September 12th. You got that right. So let me go show you what I've done over the past year and a half in the van. This thing has evolved a lot. Obviously, when I first bought the van, it was a bare empty shell, and I lived in that bare empty shell for a better part of 6 months. If you look back on my channel, I'll try to link the video at the end of this video. It's called How to Build a Stealth Van in 1 Day, and you'll see how simple of a van it was. And if you read the comments on that video, you will see a lot of people saying you can't live in a van without a roof vent. You can't live in a van with this. You can't do that. You need this. You need batteries. You need solar. And you need a toilet. And you need a sink. And you need all this stuff. There were so many people running this. And all of it was completely not true. Everything they said I couldn't do in that video, I did. And it's been awesome. I did everything completely opposite from what everybody said you had to do because you needed all this stuff. You don't. That basic and very simple van build did a lot of amazing things in my life, and the most important thing that it did is it gave me happiness, it gave me adventure, and it took me places that life would have never taken me otherwise. The second best thing it did for me was it cleared my debt. And once my debt was cleared, it allowed me to start pouring that money into the van and start adding some luxuries to making this thing that was already home look like home. Let's start this with the exterior of the van. I added these little tinted rain louvers on here, which allow you to leave the windows open about 1 inch, getting some airflow and stuff inside of the van and also in the front of the van. It also helps to cut down with any fogginess on the front windows and stuff while you're cooking or if you're in the van locked up for an extended amount of time. The back windows on the van have been tinted with 2 layers of 5% limo tint, thinking that would be enough to block all the light out. Well, it turns out that it didn't, that you could still see lights on inside while you're outside the van. So what I did to solve that problem is I bought that pink foam board insulation. You can still see it's pink right there. Painted it black, cut it, popped it in the windows, and it solved it. You can't see anything in or anything out. And those are also super easy to pop out, so if I ever wanted to change it, I could go back to the way it was before. But that's just worked, and I'm sure having the insulation on there has helped out with insulating the backside of the van. The only other exterior changes that were made was I added a Max Air roof vent to the top of the van, which was extremely easy to install. The same material that I used on my walls to give it that gray, white, and black faux wood finish is the same stuff that I used on all of my doors. And here you can see that all this is just a particle board with a wood print and stuff like that on the front. And I just loved the look. It was actually this board that inspired my entire build. When I seen that at Lowe's, I was like, oh, I gotta have it. Anyway, so all I did here was cut templates out and I screwed it to the doors. The top here had to be glued, hence the nasty glue job. That was me that did that. But I glued all of these panels on. Behind this panel is another layer of pink foam insulation. Yeah, I picked these up at the dollar store, super simple. Paper towel holder is glued and screwed. You can see some of the glue coming through there, so that way it's good and secure on the wall. And what I did to solve this thing from flopping around is I used a potato chip bag clip, and it's worked out awesome. These handles are such a cool addition. Some people recommended that I put some lacquer and stuff like that on there, but you know what? I love the whole little rusty look. I don't know, it just looks lived in. Anyway, I put one on that door. This one I use to pull the door shut because there's no real way to grab this door unless you're gonna yank it from here. And the one on this door I use to hang my towel. These are easy to build. It's called black pipe, I believe. I picked it up from Home Depot. You can buy all the parts right there in the back section. It was super, super fun. And this is gonna get gross, but this bike water bottle holder, that is my piss bottle. Yeah, my pee bottle is right there. My back doors and stuff are done very much the same as the side doors. And I just think doing the door panels like that just gives it an all-around cleaner and more polished look. When it came to building out the inside of my van, my number one goal was to create a space that I felt creative. So keeping things modern, sleek, and clutter-free was ideal for me. And this is seriously the ultimate space to be creative in. Welcome to my home. For me, one of the most important things in my van was to have a desk and somewhere that I can put my laptop up and sit here and just be creative. And having the desk here was not only super simple. When I had the gentleman build me this cabinet, he built a little ledge on the top there that this just sits on. And on this side, it was so simple. We just pulled that drawer out and it's sitting on top of that drawer. This is incredibly awesome and a beautiful spot because I can sit here, look out the door, listen to the creek while I'm editing a video, or sitting down having breakfast or just a good meal. When he built this for me, it needed to be stored away somewhere simple. So he built some little notches underneath here, and this just sits in there. There's a small piece of like felt or foam underneath there, which holds this pretty tight in. And this thing has never come out since those cabinets have been in. Once in a while on a logging road, it'll come out a little bit. But other than that, that stays good and secure. Filming your own van tour is seriously a little bit on the weird side. These cabinets here make my van. That's the first thing you see when the doors are open, and this just sets the tone for the entire home, and probably my two favorite pieces in the van. And if anything were to ever change in the van, these cabinets are not going anywhere. I love these things. So who built them for you? I bought them from a furniture store. You got it just from a local furniture store. I had to put them together, and the store's called Jysk, J-Y-S-K, Jysk. They're a Canadian company. But yeah, this just goes to show that you can go shopping for your rolling home where people buy furniture for their regular home. What's the difference? A home is a home, right? These are home furnishings, and this is my home. So these are really great pieces. I did have to look around a little bit. It was a lot of shopping around. I probably went to maybe 10 different furniture stores before I found the cabinets that just fit. I have 3 of these in the van. One here, one on the back side of the bed, and one on this side. I used to have 4 of them, but just recently I had got this built from one of my subscribers, so we ended up taking out that one cabinet. But this just goes to show how easy and how beautiful and how simple and functional regular box store furnishings can be in your van. That was probably a bit overboard, but I love those things. The latches I used are just these simple little gate style latches that you can buy at like any hardware store. And because of the design on here, these were really the only options that were simple and worked. I tried the child safety ones. They didn't work on either those drawers or these drawers. But there's always all sorts of like options to secure your drawers. This is just what I chose to use, and it's worked. On the top here, I have some plastic plants because I'm a guy. Guys, we kill things. So these are just screwed right to the counter. You can see the screw down there in the middle, and this just pops in the top, and it works out quite well. This is just a 2 stovetop burner, and it's running on a 1 pound propane bottle, which is mounted over here in this corner. And the reason why I use the 1 pound bottle is because I really don't cook that much, and it's worked. Nice little sign here. This is also double-sided tape to the counter. And behind here, I have a Magic Bullet blender, which is also bracketed to the counter, so it's not gonna go anywhere. One of the newest additions to the van is this amazing wall unit cabinet. This has made life so much better and added so much more storage room than I had before these cabinets went in. I love these things. Let's start with the water storage. The water jugs that I use, you can pick these up at Cabela's or Bass Pro Shops. I think they're like 12 bucks or $15. And they're secured in here with this little bar running across and a couple of pins on either end, and this totally freaking works. The reason why I'm using 2 different jugs is because sometimes when you're in a town that has super good flavored water, it's just nice to know you have good flavored water on the backup. Plus, this comes in handy every once in a while. If you ever want to have a shower, you huck one of those on the roof for the day, crack the valve open, and boom, you can use the extra jug for a shower. I also keep this tumbler here in the middle because if I ever need to grab a drink, the cup is already there. And when the door is shut, this allows me to fill up water so I can always keep CRUZ's water dish topped right up. That was the primary reason that this whole entire cabinet was built, because I needed a better place to store water. For a heating source, I have the Olympian Wave 3 heater, and I love this thing. It is great for the space in the van. It's a low BTU heater, so you can run it for long durations of time with a lot less moisture than some of the other brands that are out there. I have tons of videos on my channel about this thing, so if you want, dig back on my channel, you'll find lots of stuff, but I really, really like this. And yes, there's a cover that's normally on this thing all the time. I just took it off so that way you guys could see it on the video. My propane is run along here, secured against this sidewall, all the way back to my propane bottle at the back of the van. The cabinet is awesome. These latches are super great. I think John said that these were like marine latches, but they open up, they have hydraulic hinges, and yeah, they're just a great place for storage, keeping things out of sight. And he also built this little box back here so I could keep things like washer fluid, WD-40, Rain-X rags, and whatever else that I need. This is the same ones that you see in the front of the van, but here's what I did that was a little sneaky. All these come out, revealing my propane bottle. This comes out, then the next drawer comes out. What I did was I didn't fully put these drawers together, just kept the fronts and the sides, and I mounted these little plates on the inside. That way it holds the sides in place nice and secure. But an awesome little spot to hide my propane tank, because nobody wants to see that ugly little thing. I was definitely pretty proud of myself the day I figured out how to do that. It felt good to just keep those things out of the visual way because they're not exactly exciting to look at. Right here, I have a cup holder that a subscriber sent to me, and this has saved the day many, many, many times. Because what happens is when I sit here and video edit, I usually leave my coffee sitting over there and I forget about it and drive away, all of a sudden, boof, it hits the ground. Now that I have that, never had a problem. What can I say? I have a lot of really great subscribers on my channel that take care of me sometimes and think about things that I don't think about. Like the little cup holder, super awesome addition to the van. Okay, let's dive into some of the electronics that I have in the van. And this is where things in my van might get a little confusing. I have one in-house deep cycle battery. It's 105 amp hours, and I have them mounted on these very simple little switch systems that I picked up from Amazon. The links to all of these things are in my Amazon links in the description of my video. And that's a 450 watt inverter that I picked up at a pawn shop for like 25 bucks. And the system has worked fine. What I'm running on this is I have 4 little lights all the way around here, and it's running a power bar that's back here, which I use when I'm sitting at my desk or if I need to charge my cell phone and stuff while I'm sleeping. That's all on this system here. But that's all that's running off that deep cycle. I don't have anything else running off of that system. This is where the power in my van gets confusing for some people to understand. So let me tell you, I have two different sources for batteries in my van. I have another electronic control panel up here, which is all wired to another battery. It's wired into one of these little portable battery units. This is a small one. It's powered into like a 440 watt hour one, which is mounted on the inside of this cabinet right there. I don't want to dive into it too much because that's been in a few videos already. But that's the only reason why I'm running a secondary source, is because I'm on contract with these guys. But just instead of getting into detail about that now, just so you know, they're both extremely easy to use. But if you don't want to muss and fuss with wires, these are a freaking awesome option. This one also runs my roof fan as well. Yeah, pretty freaking cool. I went overboard when it came to installing this panel on it. But yeah, still pretty cool in the van. My bed itself is just simply there's a 4-inch piece of regular foam on the bottom, a 4-inch piece of memory foam on the top. Super simple. My bed frame is just a sheet of plywood with some holes cut in the top. Very, very easy. And underneath the bed, I've got some storage units, just little boxes. There is 4 of these under the bed. Laundry and whatever else needs to go underneath the bed. Pretty simple. And I have them all secured with this little bungee strap. I have my bed built sideways in the van. I tried it front and back, but it felt like it just took up so much room. Having it this way kind of really opens up your overall living space. So the dimensions of my bed are 6 feet by 4 feet. So when it comes to designing your van, find out the widest point in your van. So if you can see, my van kind of bows out. Right around there is right where my bed's at. So if you measure along the wall from both sides, you'll notice that the higher you go, the narrower the van gets. And so the higher it goes, you're gonna lose an inch on either end. You go a bit more, maybe 2 inches on either end. So find the widest part in your van and try and see if you can build your bed that way, because trust me, it will really open up the amount of space you have to live in the front side. And I'm super, super happy I did it that way. The bed frame is super simple. I have videos on this stuff. I have a playlist called The Van Build Process. So go check out that one. That might answer some of your questions and how the bed was built and kind of the process my van went through from being a blank cargo van to turning into the amazing home I have here today. If you haven't seen my original van build, what it looked like when I very first moved into it, I'm gonna link that video at the end of this video. That video is called How to Build a Stealth Van in 1 Day. In there, you're gonna see how simple of a van I lived in for a better part of 6 months. Read the comments on that video. You will notice a whole lot of talk. A whole lot of talk from people telling me I can't, and I can't. If I lived in it without a roof vent, I would die. If I didn't fully insulate it, like 2-inch layers all around, I was gonna get condensation everywhere. Well, I did everything opposite of what everybody said to do. And what did it get me? It got me freedom. It brought me more adventure than my life could have ever brought to me at that very point in time. And it got me saving all the money that I would have spent buying expensive things for my home. If I lived bare bones and basic at the beginning, I got to pour it all into my debt. And what did it get me? It got me debt free. And am I dead? No, I'm more alive today than I've ever been. So when it comes to people telling you that you have to have batteries and solar before you start, you don't. If you have to have a roof vent in your van and a deep cycle battery to power it before you start van life, you don't. You have to have a fancy build with all this stuff and a sink and all this running water and stuff. You don't. You don't need any of that stuff to start this lifestyle. Look at it. I don't have a sink in my van. I don't got solar in my van. Mine is, I mean, it looks beautiful now, but when you go back and watch that original video, you'll see where my journey started and what this journey has brought to me. And it's that. It's a beautiful, fully dialed out home on wheels that I feel proud about. But please go back and watch that original video and stick around my channel here on Vancity Vanlife, because I'll show you guys that you don't need all that elaborate stuff to be happy. Those are luxuries, not necessities. All you need is a simple bed platform, something comfortable to sleep on, blankets, pillows, heater, and a cooler with ice in it, and that's it. You can get all that other stuff when you can afford it. I lived in here for 1 year with no roof fan, and I did just fine. It's called keep those doors open if you're at a park somewhere during the day and just let that air flow in. Anyway, I could talk forever about this stuff. So if you guys have any other questions, hit them up in the link of this video. Thank you for watching this upgraded van tour. And don't worry, the van's not done. We got more coming soon. Like, comment, subscribe, and my little bulldog over there, CRUZ, has his own YouTube channel as well. I will link that at the end of this one. I'll see you guys soon. Take care and stay weird.
A couple 100 miles away, denying that something has changed. You're blaming me, too complicated.